guys, it's Corey from Redefining Strength, and today I want to talk about how not to do push-ups. While push-ups are a basic bodyweight movement and they seem like a simple exercise, they're one we often take for granted. And we want to make sure that we have proper form so that we have proper recruitment patterns during the push-ups so we don't end up with wrist, shoulder, elbow aches and pains. So today I want to talk about 4 common mistakes I see and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1 is letting your elbows flare way up by your shoulders, or creating that T shape with your upper arms and your body. While the only form that's correct is not just that narrow grip push-up, you can let your elbows flare out from your sides. You want to avoid your elbows flaring way up by your shoulders. This can put more strain not only on your elbows and wrists, but also on your neck and shoulders. It can lead to those aches and pains we often see people suffering from when they're doing a lot of pressing. You want to make sure that if you are going to do a push-up, you're thinking about maintaining that nice arrow shape with your upper arms and your body. So your upper arms are making that arrow with your body. When you do this, you're going to be able to engage your upper back better to support your shoulders. You're not going to see your shoulders shrugging as much. When you set up for the push-up, think about setting up at the top of that plank by engaging your upper back and even unshrugging your shoulders, drawing your shoulder blades down towards your butt. When you do this, you engage your upper back. Because while the push-up is a chest, shoulders, and tricep exercise, your back needs to engage to properly support and stabilize your shoulders. Otherwise, you'll end up with shoulder aches and pains because you'll be overusing those smaller muscle groups. While we can change our hand placement to adjust how much we activate our chest, shoulders, and triceps, when we're doing that standard push-up, we want to think about our hands being outside our chest to create that arrow shape with our body. This will keep your elbows in line with your shoulders and make sure that you're not hurting your wrists, elbows, or shoulders during the movement. When our elbows flare way up by our shoulders, not only do we tend to shrug, but this also puts our elbows in an odd position, which can lead to overload. When we also do that T shape, our wrists and hands tend to turn in. This will put a lot more strain on our wrists and can lead to aches and pains there. We want to make sure that we're keeping our hands pointing straight ahead with our middle fingers pointing exactly straight ahead in front of us, and then make sure we're engaging our upper back to support our shoulders. This will help with that proper alignment, so we're doing that standard push-up with our upper arms creating that arrow shape. Mistake number 2 is rocking out on your hands. Often we aren't focused on our hands' actual connection to the ground when we're doing push-ups, but we want to create tension from the ground up to make sure that we're properly engaging things to protect our wrists, elbows, and shoulders. When you do push-ups, think about gripping the ground with your entire hand. You don't want to rock out towards your pinky fingers. We want to make sure that we're not rocking out on our hands or we'll perpetuate the compensations we often see for our desk job posture. We want to make sure that we're actually engaging the correct muscles to even correct those compensations and imbalances. So you want to think about your hands' connection to the ground. Think about spreading your fingers wide and making sure that you're not rocking out on your hands or turning your hands in. Your middle fingers should be pointing straight ahead. With your hands spread wide, you almost want to think about pressing a piece of paper down into the ground and then tearing it apart. By doing this, you're going to engage even your thumb and pointer finger and make sure that you don't rock out. You'll also activate all of the muscles up your arms and even into your pecs. So if you wanted to work your chest more with push-ups, this is a great way to make sure you're activating before you even perform the movement. We want to think about creating that great tension down into the ground to activate muscles better and protect our wrists, elbows, and shoulders. So as you do the entire push-up movement, make sure that you're keeping the thumb and pointer finger down. Create that tension by even thinking about that piece of paper. You're spreading it apart and really trying to almost tear it apart as you perform the push-up movement. Mistake number 3 is jutting your head forward during the push-up. Whether it's because we're trying to cheat and seem like we're closer to the ground than we actually are, or we're just perpetuating that forward head posture from our desk job, a lot of times what you'll see is people sticking their head forward as they do the push-up. But not only can this lead to neck, shoulder, and even elbow and wrist aches and pains, but it doesn't allow you to properly engage your core. Often when we have that forward head posture, we lose tension in our core even as well. By thinking about the cues to create that arrow shape with your upper arms and body, that can help you better engage your back, which can help stop some of that forward head posture. But you might want to even think about looking slightly out on the ground. You want to be careful with that cue though, because a lot of times when we think about looking out on the ground, we end up looking up, which also isn't proper alignment of our spine. So think about looking just beyond your forehead on the ground. You can even think about slightly making a double chin as you hold to create that nice straight line from your head to your heels. A lot of times when we think about maintaining a nice straight line, we think about from our shoulders to our heels when we're doing the push-up, because we're mostly focused on our core. But that nice straight line needs to start at the tip of your skull. So again, thinking about engaging your upper back, thinking about making a slight double chin and looking just very slightly out can really help. But then think about that straight line all the way down your back. Mistake number 4 is turning the push-up into the worm. Whether you're sticking your butt up in the air or your hips are sagging down towards the ground, you're not engaging your core correctly. We often forget that the push-up is really a moving plank. It's a very challenging core exercise that requires a lot of core stability. We want to maintain that nice straight line with our spine. It's key that when we're doing the push-up, not only do we engage our upper back, but we actually tense through our entire body. You're even engaging your legs to help support and maintain that nice straight line. When you set up at the top of the push-up, think about keeping your hands outside your chest and engaging that upper back, but then also think about driving back through your heels. What this means is instead of rocking forward on the ball of your foot, you're actually pushing back off the ball of your foot so that your heels are actually behind the ball of your foot. This will be a more efficient movement pattern because it's going to allow you to engage your core correctly, even flexing your quads and glutes. When you drive back through your heels, you're going to create tension through your entire body. And this will create that more efficient movement pattern so that everything is locked in so that you're not overloading your shoulders, chest, or triceps. While this is an upper body exercise and you really want to work your core and your chest, shoulders, and triceps, you don't want to overload them. Part of becoming stronger and being able to do more reps or even lift more weight is about a more efficient movement pattern. And by creating tension properly, we can have a more effective movement and really keep our core engaged. Just make sure your butt's not sticking up in the air, or that can lead to more overload of your shoulders, not to mention that T position and your hand turning in, but also make sure your hips aren't sagging towards the ground. Brace those abs, flex those quads, and squeeze those glutes. And remember to drive back through your heels as you do the movement. It's really key when we do the push-up that we not only pay attention to our form, but what we also feel working. When you're trying to correct some of these common mistakes, you might even find that you need to modify off an incline. Sometimes we need to regress the movement to progress the movement because we need to modify so we can make sure we actually feel the correct muscles working and we're making the tweaks that we need. So don't hesitate to use that incline to your advantage to correct these common mistakes. If you like the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.